They laughed the first time they saw her digging in the frozen ground, steam rising from her breath as her shovel struck rock and ice. Even before she spoke, people were already shaking their heads, whispering that she had finally broken under the weight of too many winters. But the truth was, she wasn't digging for herself. She was digging because every night, her children went to sleep shivering, and a mother's fear can be stronger than cold, stronger than shame, stronger than the laughter of an entire town. Her name was Mara, a single mother living on the edge of a small northern Canadian town where winter seemed to last forever. After her husband passed away, the world shrank to a small drafty house, unpaid bills, and 2 children who tried very hard not to complain. The heating system barely worked, firewood was expensive, and each winter felt more dangerous than the last. One evening, while helping her youngest warm their hands over a kettle, Mara remembered something her grandfather once told her about the land. He used to say the earth had its own warmth if you knew where to look. Most people forgot that. Mara didn't. She began researching late at night, reading old books at the library and talking to elders who still remembered natural springs and underground heat pockets. What she found sounded impossible to most people. A shallow geothermal pool, dug carefully, could release warmth even in the coldest months. It wouldn't make them rich. It wouldn't impress anyone, but it could keep her children warm. When she shared the idea, neighbors smiled politely or laughed outright. Some told her she was risking her children's safety. Others said she was wasting time when she should be asking for help instead of chasing foolish ideas. Still, every morning before dawn, Mara wrapped herself in layers and went outside with her shovel. Her hands cracked and bled. The ground fought her at every inch. Her children watched from the window at first, worried and confused, until one day they brought her tea and sat nearby, silently cheering her on. Weeks passed, then months. The hole grew deeper. People passing by slowed their cars just to stare. Some mocked her openly, calling her foolish, stubborn, unrealistic. Mara said nothing. She had learned that silence was sometimes the strongest reply. Then the town changed. It didn't happen overnight, but when the sickness arrived, it spread fast. A strange plague swept through during the harshest part of winter, filling the small clinic beyond capacity. Homes became places of fear. Power outages followed, and heating systems failed when people needed them most. Families huddled under blankets, terrified not just of the cold, but of what it was doing to already weakened bodies. The laughter stopped. Panic replaced it. That was when steam began to rise from Mara's backyard. The pool she had dug, lined carefully with stone and sealed against collapse, released steady warmth into the bitter air. Her house stayed warmer than most. When her neighbor's heating went out, Mara opened her door without hesitation. One by one, people came, embarrassed, desperate, exhausted. She welcomed them all. Children with fevers rested near the warmth. Elderly couples sat quietly, hands stretched toward the gentle heat, tears rolling down their faces not from pain, but relief. Word spread quickly. The same people who once mocked her now stood silently beside her, helping reinforce the structure, bringing supplies, apologizing without words. The pool didn't cure the plague, but it saved lives by keeping bodies warm and spirits alive. In that shared space, fear softened into hope. People talked again. They helped each other again. They remembered what community meant. When spring finally arrived and the worst had passed, the town looked different. Not because buildings had changed, but because people had. No one called Mara foolish anymore. They called her brave. They called her wise. But Mara never corrected them, because she knew the truth was simpler. She was just a mother who refused to let fear make her small. Years later, children would play near that warm pool, listening to the story of how one woman trusted the earth when everyone else trusted laughter. And they would learn something important, something Canada's long winters teach best: survival isn't always about strength or resources. Sometimes, it's about believing in quiet hope, digging deep when others walk away, and choosing care over pride.